This is a series of short videos on PowerPoint 2013, which is the same as PowerPoint in Office 365. It is important to understand as you start watching this tutorial that I will start with the very basic concepts on using PowerPoint, and then in later sessions I will go over individual aspects of using PowerPoint, from creating a PowerPoint to enhancing it and finally developing it further for presenting it. So let's get started with some of the basic concepts here, and keep in mind that you can forward this video to other aspects of it. Each subsequent section it's going to be about 5 minutes long. So to get started, let's go ahead and locate PowerPoint. So the first time that you open PowerPoint, you'll be presented with something very similar to this. On the very left hand side here you have the file menu. You have all these different options, and then in the bottom you also have options. From here under options you can further customize settings, and you can check those for yourself. Under save you can change the default location where your presentations are going to be saved. Next to the file menu you have all these different tabs. These are basically the same in all aspects of the Office suite, whether it is Microsoft Word, Excel, and so on, but they'll just differ depending on the application. Typically, what you have is that the Home tab contains the most commonly used functions in PowerPoint, the most as basic stuff as you're getting started. And then the Insert tab, you insert different components in PowerPoint, then the design of the PowerPoint, transitions, animations, presentations, and then reviewing. Within each section here, under each tab of the Office ribbon, you have these sections, and you can see them divided like the font section, paragraph section, and editing sections, and so on. And I guess you get the idea at this point. On the very top left here, we have the Quick Access toolbar. This is a set of tools that you can easily add and remove by simply right-clicking on an item here and choose to add it to the toolbar, or right-click again on it to remove it from the toolbar. Then on the center area here we have the actual slide that you'll be using in this case. Now on the left-hand side here you have the individual slides, or a preview of all the slides within your presentation. In the bottom here you have a couple other options such as the notes, comments area, and then you also have the different views from your slides. Like you can change it to a slide sorter where you can kind of preview different slides. Now in this case we do not have many of them, but you can change and preview them, and also you can zoom in and out of your slides. So before I end this first session in PowerPoint 2013, let's go ahead and design a couple of slides here just so that we can get started and make this session work. So to click on a title, all you have to do is double click here where it says title, and a couple of ways to enter this information, by the way. Let's type here the title. You can put also a subtitle. And then at this point we are ready to insert the next slide. Now to insert the next slide, there are a couple ways of doing it, but one of the ways is by clicking here on New Slide, or we can click here on the left hand side and right click and choose New Slide as well. Or you can also do Control M, which will insert a new slide here in our slideshow. So in this case we'll click here on New Slide under the ribbon, and then notice there are different designs that you can pick from your slides. So the most typical one would be this one with title and content. However, you can choose any of those different designs. So click on title and content, and now we can simply insert, notice it will have the title here, and then you can insert here the different bullets, the different items. Under each bullet I'm simply typing what I want and then hitting enter to move to the next section. This is basically our first slide. Now if I wanted to test this first slide and these couple of slides that I just created, all I have to do is I can either go here under slideshow and then choose to present it from the beginning, or I can simply go down here in the very bottom and click on slideshow, or I can press F5 on the keyboard to start presenting it. And so far it is not that fancy, but at least we have something to present. And this is just for me to demonstrate that we can create something within a matter of a few minutes. Now, Suppose we are running to a meeting and we had to present this rather quickly and we are not really ready to go with all the pieces and so on, but at least we can have an outline. Now what you can do is you can simply apply a quick design to this, and I'll go into these a little bit later into more detail, how to apply a specific design, how to change certain components and all that type of stuff to make it fancier. However, in this first session, I wanted to show something that would be easy and useful for you. So if I wanted a specific design, I can just choose any of those designs. And notice you can see a live preview of this as well as I hold the mouse on it. And let's say we want this one. Now at this point, if I were ready to go with this, now notice I'll present it one more time, press F5, and then to move from slide to slide, we can just either press the space bar on the keyboard, or click with the mouse, or use the right keys on the keyboard. Any of those will work. So stay tuned for the other sessions, and we'll learn how to go step by step on enhancing the presentation and doing all kinds of other fancy stuff with the presentation. As you get started with PowerPoint and you plan to use it, it is important to keep in mind some of the best practices on using and presenting a presentation. As you'll see shortly here, it is very easy to get stuck in customizing colors, customizing certain things within a presentation, and therefore you'd miss the point of your presentation. And usually the point of presenting and utilizing PowerPoint and utilizing presentations is so that you can convince the audience of whatever you're trying to sell to them. If you're teaching a lesson, you want them to get the lesson. If you're selling a product, you want them to buy the product. So it's not necessarily how well you designed your PowerPoint, but it is more important how effective your PowerPoint is to achieve the goal that you're presenting. So the first thing that I'd suggest is that you fill out an outline before you begin to put the presentation together. So just lay out how your presentation is going to look as far as the flow of it. Then also it is important to utilize words that are large enough, at least font size 24 or higher. That it can get very frustrating to the audience when your text is not readable. Also, limit the number of words that you put on a page. It's best to avoid the paragraphs, use bullet points, and nowadays with PowerPoint 2013 and later versions, use SmartArt. Graphical images or designs like SmartArt, they make the PowerPoint much more appealing and also to get the point across. And it is also, remember the 7x7 rule. What that means is that if you're using bullets, listings like I have here, try to keep no more than 7 lines or 7 bullets per page, and also no more than 7 words on average, of course, per line. A couple more things here on guidelines on using PowerPoint. Just because text and different fonts may look fancy to you, fancy is not always better, so try to keep and utilize the simple fonts. For example, this first line here in my recording, it is probably harder to read than the other ones below. Also, if you're choosing different color combinations and so on, try to make the text easy to read, because again, it's convincing the audience whatever you're trying to sell to them. It's not necessarily how fancy your colors are. And it's best to color coordinate components of the PowerPoint as well. So limit graphics per page. So usually 1 is best, but if you have to use more than 1, don't go more than 3 unless there is a specific purpose for those. And then special effects. Make sure that if you're having animations within the PowerPoint, that those effects have a purpose. And as you are presenting, again, it is important to emphasize here that the presentation, the slides that you're using, they should be to support what you are trying to present and not necessarily be your presentation. By that, what I mean is that as you're presenting the PowerPoint, do not just turn your back toward the audience and read everything that is in the PowerPoint, but rather use it to support, to reinforce what you had just presented the minute before. So before we move forward with actually creating and tinkering with our own PowerPoint, I would like to show how you can use a template. So we click here on File, and then we click on New. Then we want to use, let's say, a template. Instead of inventing everything from scratch, we can simply go here and use one of the presentations from PowerPoint. So here we can go under Presentations, and there are different existing presentation layouts or templates that exist out there that other people have posted and so on. Now you can also notice there are different categories of those presentations as well under Business here, and simply pick any of those. Click on Create. They have chosen a design. There is different text here, how to outline it, what examples, and so on. So all you have to do is basically fill in the existing outline and even the existing SmartArts in this presentation. So that's how easy it is to utilize a template in PowerPoint. If you don't like any of those, you can simply go and choose a different one. So earlier we learned how to create a very basic presentation. In this session we are going to learn how to enhance a presentation and use some of the most commonly used tools here under the Home tab. I have a bunch of slides here that I created at some point earlier. Let's learn how to add one more blank slide from here, or a new slide. And we click here under New Slide, and then we choose, like we mentioned earlier, a design. So we'll click Title and Content, and then basically you can insert a title here, and then here you can insert the different bullets for the bullet list. Now one of the things to keep in mind as well, that if you got a slide that you like the layout and you like the way it looks and the title and all that type of stuff, and you have to change only a couple of things in it, another option that you can do is you can right click on the slide and you can also choose to duplicate it, and that basically it will make a copy of it, and then you can tinker with a second copy of it and adjust the options and so on. If you changed your mind and you'd like to have some other layout for this slide, what you can do is you can click here under the layout area and then choose a different layout for it. So for example, let's say you want two areas of it, and that's how you can change it to a different type of layout. The other thing that you can do as well, notice that there are some icons here when you change the layout, and these are by default. It's basically for you to insert different components within that slide. So at this point, if you needed to tinker with specific areas here, of course you can select the text and then make it larger, make it smaller, and so on, make it bold, change the font, and basically adjust it however you'd adjust anything else in a word processor and things of that nature. I will show you, however, later that those changes can be applied to multiple slides of the same kind throughout your slideshow, but I'll show that later. So then under the paragraph area, you can indent this if you needed to, and you get the idea. And then notice there are some other tools here that you can basically draw specific lines and add specific. Notice under arrange here you can arrange different components so one can be behind the other and so on, but that helps more if we have images and things of that nature. And then the next thing that you can do here, now I'd like to show this before I finish this session, is that there are these quick styles. Instead of you basically customizing this and changing colors and backgrounds and things of that nature, you could simply go and apply and change it to a different style, just this component, just this frame or this heading here for this specific slide. So if I click on quick styles here, I can go and pick any of those styles. Now the choice of the quick styles here actually depends. Notice that we don't have a variety of other colors here. It depends on the type of theme that has been applied to this presentation. Of course, you can change the fill and the shape and the outline over here. However, if we wanted to apply a different theme, and we'll learn about themes in just a moment here, we can go here under Design, and let's say I want to apply the Office theme. Notice it shows me the title of the theme here, and it also gives me a live preview. So I'll click on the Office theme, and then notice it changed the colors here. However, if I go back to the Home tab, and then I go to Quick Styles, then I have a completely different set of colors that I can apply to my design here. So let's say I want this one, and there it is. If I want to adjust this to be wider and so on, of course you can adjust it however you want. Again, keep in mind this is going to apply to only that specific slide. So stay tuned for the other videos when we learn how to apply it across all the slides. So that's how you basically add a new slide. You can change the layout of the slide, and then also how to apply quick styles to a slide. Now, of course, under these sections here, for example, for the bulleted lists, since we are here, if you do not like these types of bulleted lists here, or the bullets, you can click on the drop down, and you can choose something else that you might prefer. And you have to select all options here. Choose something else, and notice it has been applied. You can still select these options again and right click or go under bullets, and then if you choose bullets and numbering, you can still even change the color here. So if I wanted the blue to match with it, I can simply click on whatever color I want, and that is going to apply that setting to all the bullets in that slide. So those are a couple of things that you can utilize here in PowerPoint as we get started. Again, it's still elementary here, but we have to start from some point and then improve from there. So in the next video, I'm going to demonstrate how we can apply a design to our presentation, and then furthermore how to add different objects and so on. And finally, before I finish this session, it is very easy to get stuck in just tinkering with colors and tinkering with the individual fonts and different pieces within that slideshow, and then not have a flowing outline. So again, it is very important, do the rough outline first, whatever your presentation is going to look like, and then at least you have something to present, and then you can tinker with colors, because in some cases you can end up spending hours in one slide. So this concludes this brief session, and stay tuned for the next one on how to apply a design theme and how to customize the theme. In this session, I'm going to demonstrate how to apply a design theme to a presentation in PowerPoint 2013. Earlier, we learned how to create a basic outline, how to add specific components within a slideshow, and apply a quick style. And of course, some of the best practices as well. So in this scenario, we want to take this basic outline that we have here, and we want to make it a little bit fancier without wasting too much time in applying different components. So what we can do here, we can go under the Design tab, and you can be anywhere in your slides, and then at this point you can simply go and apply any of the themes here under the Design area. Notice we have a live preview. And you can change also the different effects, fonts, colors, and so on. So let's say I want this design for my presentation. Now what I could do is, because I don't like these colors, specifically this color, the green here, I can simply go under the drop down here and choose under colors and go and pick something else that I might like for example Office 2007 to 2010, or this one for Office, or any of those. Notice the live preview. So I'll just choose the Office colors, And then at this point notice it has been applied through all my slides in my slideshow. Notice if you don't like the font as well, you can go and change that. Instead of applying this theme across all the slides in your presentation, you can apply a theme to only a specific slide within your presentation. So to apply a specific theme to a specific slide, all you have to do is right-click on it, on this here, and then choose Apply to Selected Slides. And you could select more than one by holding the Control key, or just apply to that specific slide. Now notice the previous one is the way I had it before. The next one is in a different format here. Notice as you're tinkering with the themes, there is also an option here to set it as a default theme. What that means is that anytime you create a new presentation, you can set all your slideshow is going to be created using that specific default theme rather than being the basic one. As you're tinkering with the specific slides here and designing and applying a specific theme, notice that you can also go and choose here under the Format Background, and I simply right-clicked, or notice there is also the option here for Format Background, and this is to fine-tune the formatting of your background or hide certain design elements within this. So basically what you do here is you can simply customize it to however you like it, and you're basically tinkering further with the design of this. You can apply it to all the slides in your slideshow, and you can reset the background as well. In this case, I'm going to undo it to keep things simple and just let it be. Okay, so that's basically how you change the design in your presentation. If we wanted to present this, even though we didn't spend a lot of time in adding different other components and so on, we theoretically could present this to a class, or we could present it to in a meeting or a business or whatever, but it basically took a brief outline and then applying a design to the whole presentation. Now if I wanted to present it, I go here on the bottom under the slideshow area, or press F5 on the keyboard and it will start presenting. So at this point it's usable, as you can see. So that's using the design view. Now we are going to go to the next section, where we are going to insert different components to make this presentation much richer. In this session, I'm going to demonstrate how to enhance the presentation by inserting various pictures and other components. So let's assume that we have now an outline in our presentation, and also we have applied a design theme to it. Now we want to insert different components. So we want to insert graphics and clip art and other components as well. So we click here on the Insert tab. Now we are making this much fancier. So of course you could insert here a new slide, and I'm going to just insert a new title slide, or you can do a blank slide or whatever type of slide that you want. But I'm just going to insert a blank one for us to tinker with. So we can get pictures from the computer. And let's say we go under the folder here, Pictures, and pick one of those. Once we insert this image, we can resize it, make it as big, and place it wherever we want it. And of course, notice under the Picture Tools, there's a new tab called, these are called the contextual tools. The tools that show up in the context of what we are doing. So in this case, we can tinker with this picture and make it even fancier. Notice there are different picture styles that we can change here and apply a different style to this specific picture that we downloaded. So you pick whichever style that you prefer in this case, and then you can also apply here different effects. Even rotation, three-dimensional rotation, and that type of thing. And notice also you can crop this picture. So if you do not want the whole area of this picture, let's say we want only the area here where it says PowerPoint 2007, we can simply select what we want and then choose to crop it. Once it's cropped, we can expand this And I'm going to undo the style here, so it basically looks better this way, I guess. Let's say the round edges, and let it be that way. Remember, in this case, we applied a picture from our computer. The other thing that you can do is you can go here under Insert, and you can get pictures online. This is very similar to like getting clip art, but it's going to Microsoft Online and then searching for it. So if we click here on Online Pictures, it's going to utilize Bing, the search engine Bing, and we can get whatever pictures we want. Of course, keep in mind here copyright as well. You pick any of those. All you have to do basically click on it and then choose Insert. Once you insert the image, then you can drag it wherever you want to place it and then resize it if you needed to, and of course apply a theme to whatever you'd prefer to apply. In some cases where the images overlap, like in this case here, what you could do is you can actually send that image to the back or bring a specific image to the front. And notice in this case we have this one in front of the other one. So there you go. That's how basically you can get images either from the computer or from downloading them from the web. Of course, you could also go on the web and select the right click on an image, copy it, and then simply paste it to PowerPoint here to the slide. There are also different shapes that you could insert. For example, that you want to have an arrow pointing to, for whatever reason, to this object. And this arrow, notice, you have to drag it, hold down the mouse, drag it to the right, or however you want to draw it basically on the screen. And now there are also shape tools that show up here to format this further. So let's say I want a different color here. I can apply this color under the outline. Let's say I don't like the outline that was there, take that off, and then also have different effects such as shadow and so on. So it's basically a matter of tinkering with this and adjusting it however you prefer it. Notice you can add other ones, or you can edit this shape to look something different, where you're basically taking the existing shape and then customizing it to be a different one, retaining the current properties that you had applied earlier. And then of course you could change this and locate it, put it wherever you want. Notice here there is also this little area here where you can actually rotate this whole shape here and basically customize it to your liking. One other thing that you can do, by the way, is also you can group those objects. So let's say this one and this one, make them so that they act as one. And the way you group objects is by simply clicking on it, click on the second component as well, then right click and then choose Group. Now at this point, whenever you move this, it's going to be together. Notice we have to send it backwards again. Another component, as we are tinkering with images at this point, what you can do, and this is new in PowerPoint 2013, is that you can insert part of your screen, like a screenshot, as an image into the slide in PowerPoint. So of course it would be going against our rules here of having more than 2 images per page here, but let's say that we are okay with that. Now what we do here, let's say we want to add something else in this area. To take a screenshot, all we have to do is click on Take Screenshot, and it's going to present us with windows that we currently have opened in our computer. So let's say I want to take a screenshot from, let's say, something online. So I open whatever it is online, and then I go back to PowerPoint, and then I go under Screenshot. Now, if we choose here Available Windows, it takes actually the whole screenshot from that web page and pastes it in our slide. However, we can do a screen clipping and capture only part of that page from the web. So let's say we wanted to take this part over here. Select it, Notice it captured it, cropped it automatically, and now we bring it back to our presentation. And then we can manipulate it and tinker with it further however we want. So that's basically inserting images and how to enhance the looks of the PowerPoint. Of course, in this case, it's too busy, but how to enhance this presentation by adding multiple components to it. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to insert a table and customize that table, and then we're going to move on to charts and SmartArt and other components as well. In this session, I'm going to demonstrate how to insert a table in a slide in PowerPoint 2013. Let's go to this slide. And now in this slide, we want to insert a table. So we click on Table, and then you can either draw the table this way, or you could choose to insert the table as you can see in the bottom of this area, or you can use it in an Excel spreadsheet. So we're going to draw this table at this point with however many pieces we want. Now we drag this and then adjust the size of it however we want it. And of course, at this point, we just simply type the text here. Now notice as part of this table, notice there are different designs that we can apply, or different styles that we can apply to this table, including different effects. And so that's one of the ways and one thing to utilize with the tables. It's pretty straightforward, as you can see. Of course, under the Layout tab, we can tinker with more settings as well. So you can add also charts, and that's what's most common rather than basic tables, which potentially you can utilize, but you can also utilize charts. So for that, let me create here. We can either add it in this area, or we can create a new slide by simply right click here and choose new slide. Now under the Insert tab, we go here under Chart, and then you can pick a design of a chart that you might prefer. There you might want a line chart, pie chart, whatever type of chart that you want, and basically simply click on it and click OK. You can simply customize it further as well. And now notice it's already inserted. Now what it's doing here is that it's expecting us to insert some categories here. So we could say category 1, you could have products here, you could have prices or months or quarters of the year and so on, and customize it however you want. Now notice that it's giving us 3 columns here. That means is that we have 4 categories. So it's category 1, 2, 3, 4. And then also it's giving us 3 actual readings for each one of them. And that's because it's Series 1, Series 2, Series 3. If we did not want, let's say, 3 of them or 4 areas here, 4 categories, all you have to do is notice there's this blue area here in the bottom right, hold the mouse down, and then move it to however many you want to display. And you can expand and remove items from there. Now notice there are other additional settings here. So if I click outside of this table, and you can close this or open it however you want. If you double click, notice there is a design area and a formatting area. You can change colors here, customize it. You can put different values in there, represent the data a different way, use actual values as part of the display. Also under the quick layout, you can apply different, like display the data right below it and so on, and basically customize it to your liking. And of course, I'm not going into very many details regarding that at this point, but you get the idea. And of course, this will depend on how you're presenting the data and that type of thing. Then of course you can resize this, and you need to make sure that the background does not interfere with it. Again, if you didn't want the background, you can click on Format Background and then change it to hide the graphics. And there it is, it's cleaner at this point. So that's how inserting tables works in PowerPoint, and also inserting charts. Keep in mind again that to change this data, you have to go and click on Edit Data. Once you bring up the contextual tools here, you click on Edit Data, and then you can customize and tinker with the data, basically. One of the wonderful and powerful tools of Office 2013, and particularly in PowerPoint 2013, is the use and the availability of SmartArt. SmartArt, basically, it allows you to represent something in a graphic to visually communicate information. Instead of you traditionally, how we list components, for example, the process for continuous improvement would be to identify the opportunities, to plan for improvement, to execute those changes, and then to review those changes, whether they were effective or not. So traditionally, we used to post those in just a bunch of bullets very similar to this. However, as you can see from down here, it is the same idea, but it's more visual and more effective. So how can we use SmartArt in presentations? How can we do this? And this is one of the things that I'll explain in this session. There are a couple ways to do this. One way is to take existing bullet lists, the way we have them, and convert this list into SmartArt. The way you do that is by simply right-clicking wherever the bullet list is, and then there's this option here to convert to SmartArt. Then you pick one of those designs, whichever design you might prefer. So since we are looking at the process here, we could pick either this one or this one back here, but it's a matter of tinkering and playing with it. So then click on it, and notice it has been converted automatically at this point. And then you can also adjust here under contextual tools. We can adjust the colors. And then we can adjust different other layouts as well. And notice this is how we converted, like I had it from before, the sample that I showed you. Now you can display this in multiple different ways, as you can see from here. So that's one way. It's basically taking a bunch of bulleted list items and then converting them into SmartArt and then customizing that SmartArt in whatever you want. Now, if you wanted to change these, you can either change it directly within this area, or you can change it from this area back here on the left. The reason why it's called SmartArt, because it self-adjusts. Like I added another item here, another meeting, but it self-adjusts. You don't have to spend all afternoon rearranging all your items. If you don't want that item there again, you just type again, take that out, and it readjusts itself, the formatting automatically. And that's why it's referred to as SmartArt. Now, if you wanted to create something from scratch, SmartArt from scratch, and let's show this by using a new slide here. The way you can do that is basically by going under the Insert tab, and then click on SmartArt, and then pick one of the designs that might fit your concept. So let's say I want a process, and let's say I want this. Let's say I want this one down here, whichever you prefer, basically. And let's say we have attend class, study hard, submit work on time, and that yields good grades. And there you go. So it's much more effective. Now in this case, we can still click anywhere here, change the colors to choose a different theme, and then customize it further. If for some reason we did not like this design, you can always change it to something else. That's how SmartArt works in PowerPoint 2013. In this brief session, I'm going to demonstrate how to insert hyperlinks in a slide. Hyperlinks are a great tool in PowerPoint, and sometimes you might be in a meeting where you're presenting something, but yet you want to link to another document or another site or something outside of the slideshow that you're presenting. And there are a couple ways of hyperlinking. You can hyperlink specific text, so whenever you click on that text, it will take you to a specific location. Or you can hyperlink images. For example, as soon as you click on this image, it will take you to some other location on the web or wherever. So let's learn first how to hyperlink text. Basically, the way it works is that first you have to know what you want to hyperlink. And you have to go and get the link for that item. Let's say that I have here I want to hyperlink to this video on YouTube, and by the way, this is the Excel 2013 tutorial that I already have posted here for you to view. So I go ahead and copy the URL here. You can right click and choose copy or Control-C or however you copy a link out there, and then let's minimize it. Then we select the text. You can select the text if you want to hyperlink, whether the whole, more than one word or just a single word. And then you click here under the Insert tab, and then you choose Hyperlink. Once you choose Hyperlink, of course you could link to a specific document in your computer, or in this case I'm linking to an address on the web. So I just paste it here, right click, choose Paste, or Control-V, or however you paste stuff, and then click OK. So that's one way. Notice now it's in blue. This text is in blue. The second method is to hyperlink actual images. So let's say I have this image here and I want to hyperlink so I can click on it and go to a specific site. So of course, again, you'd have to copy the URL that we did earlier. Now we go here under the image, we click on hyperlink, and then we basically, the same way, we paste the URL over here. Then click OK, and we are set. Now the difference is that you don't really know that this is hyperlinked unless you click on it and choose Edit Hyperlink or View the Hyperlink and things of that nature. Now for the audience, they'll know that this is linked because the text is going to be in blue. Now if I go and present this, which by the way, if I want to present from this current slide, I could either do Shift F5, or I could go under Slideshow and choose from the current slide. That is basically the same thing, Shift F5, like it says here. And now notice the text here is in hyperlinked. Notice it says YouTube and so on, and then this as well, it's hyperlinked. I could click on either one of those, and it'll go and take me to that link on YouTube. So that's how it basically works. Hyperlinking, it's a great tool, it's a great feature, and highly encouraged to be utilized. In this session, I'm going to focus primarily on animations, how to customize animations in PowerPoint 2013. There are a couple ways to do this. There is the tab here for transitions as to how the slides will transition from one to the other. This is not really recommended that much. You don't see it as much because you want to minimize transitions and distractions for the audience, and again, the point is to sell the product rather than just show and have things flying from every which direction. If you needed to change the how each slide will transition, you can change it from here. Simply click on it and it will apply it, and you can apply it to all the slides. The next thing that I wanted to actually focus on is animation. Right now, if we present this PowerPoint, and I'll press F5 here to present it, notice there is not really any animation taking place here. All the objects here are showing up at the same time once I click. So what you can do is we can customize this animation. I'm going to go to one of the slides that has more objects here. So I'm going to go to this one here and just take out this table and then customize it so that the different objects that we have here come in a different order. So first This has nothing to do with this session, but let's make this font a little bit larger, because if you notice, it is only 16, and as I had mentioned earlier, it's best the font to be at least 24 so the audience can view it. Now, first let's place some kind of animation for these bullets here if we wanted to. So what you do is you click anywhere, and then you click on animations. Under animation, the best thing that I find here is that you can actually add this animation pane. Animation pane puts this stuff here on the right hand side where we can see what's happening and when. Now we could say that for this area here where we have the bullet list, we want to add animation, and we click here and we can choose specific types of animation. Now again, keep in mind you don't want to make it too flashy, it needs to be purposeful, but for now I'm just demonstrating how the animation, how you can apply the animation to different objects, how to change the order of the objects, which comes first, and also how to pair things together. So let's say we wanted this to fly in. All of these, they'll fly in. Now notice it added here, as soon as I chose to add animation and to choose fly in, it added these sections. So that all of these that say 1 are going to come together. All of these that have 2, they'll come together at the same time when presented. So if I test this, it would be Shift F5 to present it. I tap on the mouse. Notice the images are put here. They are not coming in by themselves. They're part of the page. And now notice these are coming together. The way, if you see here on the right hand side and on the animation pane, and we expand this, you'll see that you have all of these different options. Now notice this says the right click on image. Notice it says it will come with a previous, and that will come with a previous item. That means it's going to come with the section here from the web. If I wanted this right click bullet here to come by itself, all you have to do is you can click on the drop down and then you choose Start on Click. Or you could time it so it comes after a certain time. However, the timed events are not really that great in a business presentation. So we click here on Start with Click, and now you'll notice that we have, this is number 1, this is going to be number 2, and number 3, all of these together. So now if I go and present this, notice number 1 by itself, these other ones will come together, and then that together, the 3 of them together. Now if we want to customize them further, let's say I want this to come up, the back to PPT and paste. Let's say I want that to come together with number 1 for whatever reason. I can move that up higher, and notice it says it's going to come with the previous option. So now if I present it again, Shift F5, notice the first and the third item, they're together presented. So you can see basically in this case you can actually just simply change the order, just drag those up or down and then reassign them. Notice how this says on click, you can change it so it comes with the previous one, or it can come timed as well. So that's how you change and you add animation to specific bullet lists. Now as far as the images, it's pretty much the same idea. You can select the image and then you can click on add animation, and let's say I want that image to kind of let's make this kind of annoying, glow and turn and all that type of stuff. And notice now that's going to be number 4. So that means that it's going to be the last thing to be presented. So if I go over here, present it, notice that's number 4. Now let's say that I want this image to come as number 2. All I have to do is drag it over here and then move it to the end of number 1 basically. So now notice it says number 2. Now if I present it again, notice we have number 1. This was number 1. There's the image, and then these are the other components. Now the next thing that you could do is you can bring this image at the same time as number 1. And to customize that, all we have to do is change picture number 1 here to start with the previous. That means that whenever this number 1 comes, it'll bring also the picture down here. So we just changed it. Now let's present it. Notice number 1, it's coming together. So you get the idea. It's basically add animation to different objects that you want on the page and then adjust the order as well. Let's say I want this Yahoo logo here to come at a certain point. I can just click on it, add animation. Now it's going to be number 4. Let's say I want it to come at the same time as picture number 1. I want for it to be displayed at the same time as bullet point number 1. Now if I press Shift F5 to present this, notice all these 3 pieces or 3 components will be displayed at the same time. So again, it's a matter of tinkering with it and designing how you want things to appear and in what order, and of course make sure it's meaningful. Now let me demonstrate something that has to do with SmartArt. Earlier I demonstrated SmartArt, how to create it, but let's say you want it, because right now if I present this, it comes all together in one piece. If I want this to come in different separate components, I need to add animation to this as well, to the SmartArt. So the way SmartArt it works slightly different, but still similar idea. We have here the animation pane under the animations window. We click here on, after we have selected the SmartArt, we click on add animation, and then we choose how we want the animation to appear. So let's say I wanted just simply a basic appearance of it. Now notice here, let's go back to where this was. I click on it. Notice there's a new area here where it says under the effect options, we have the option here for those to come all at the same time, or as one object, or one by one. So here we want one by one, each piece to come in one by one because it's more effective. In this case, let's present it so we have it one by one. And by the way, we can expand it here under the animation pane and see what's going to happen. Let's play it and present it. Now we have the part of our process is to identify it, and then we have the next stage is to plan and then to execute, and then to review it, and this is our continuous improvement process, and so on and so on. You kind of saw how those pieces are more effective when they are presented separately. And you can do the same thing here with this other SmartArt. We can go here under, again, add animation, have whatever animation we want. Of course, we don't want to make it too annoying like that, but so let's change it to a different one. And then under the effects, we can change this. Now notice, depending on the type of SmartArt that you have different options. So for example, for floating up and down, that was because I chose the animation for up and down, and then the presentation options as well. So now if we go to present this, it's going to kind of be a little bit annoying because we have things flying from every which way, but that's where it is. So that's how animation works. Again, it can be time consuming depending on what you want to do, and it must have a purpose in applying it. It's not just for the sake of having animation. Hopefully it's helpful. Stick on to these video tutorials. We'll go next into other features of it for presentations. In this session, I'm going to demonstrate how to insert multimedia in a slide in PowerPoint presentations 2013. By multimedia, what I mean is inserting video and audio files. So in this case, first I'm going to demonstrate how to insert video. Now this is new in PowerPoint 2013, and in some cases you might have issues with this by inserting videos from online, and this is that feature of inserting online video. So basically the way it works is that you go here under video, click on online video, and then you can either embed code from somewhere on the web, or you can go ahead and embed a video from YouTube. And this is with the latest version and updates for PowerPoint. So if this doesn't work in your computer, the problem might be related that you don't have the latest updates installed in there. So if I go to YouTube here and I go Ask a Sally, there are a bunch of YouTube videos that I have there, and now let's say I want any of those videos to be presented here. Just pick any of them, let's say using Word 2013, and then click on Insert. Once you click on Insert, you can resize this, and then at this point this is linked to YouTube and it's going to be streaming it from here when you present it. So in this case, let's go ahead into presentation mode to present it. Click on slideshow, choose from current slide or Shift F5, and then notice it has the play button at this point. To present it, you just click and it will start playing basically the embedded video into your slideshow. Different. It looks more whitish, and this is more. By the way, you can check this tutorial. It's a full video tutorial in Microsoft Word as well that is available for you to view. The other thing that you can do is that you can insert video from the PC itself. So I'm going to insert a new slide here. And in this case, we're going to insert a video from the PC. So we click here on video, video on my PC. Of course, you have to find where your video stuff is and so on. So in this case here, I have a sample video that I have on my computer. You can resize this if you needed to. And now let's present it. Let's test and see whether it works. So we click here from the current slide. It's going to come up like this. Then you press play. We could have resized it if we wanted to make it full screen and things of that nature. And there it is. So this is basically when you have the video clip in your computer. The previous example was when you have the video embedded from YouTube. You'd need, in this case of the first case, you'd need to have the internet connectivity when you're presenting it. So it's a little bit more risky if the internet is not working. Now, inserting sound is the next item here that I'll demonstrate in this video. We click on Insert, then we go under Audio, and then you could choose online audio if you know where the audio might be, or you could record new audio directly from the PC at this point to embed it in your PowerPoint, or you can choose audio from my PC. So we go here under Audio on my PC, and then go and locate your audio. And now in this case we have this audio clip here. We could move this to wherever we want it. And then when you go to present this, you can make this so that it plays automatically, or you'd have to click on play and it will start playing in your video or in your presentation. And by the way you control the playing of this, it's basically under the options here for playback. Right now it's configured to play on click, but you can change it so it plays automatically. And it plays across all slides. And by the way, that's how you can have a song or some kind of music in the background. You apply it at the beginning of the audio or in the first slide, and then you choose to play automatically, and then play across all the slides until you stop it. So basically that's how it works, and you have also the play in the background. So again, as you're tinkering with this stuff, make sure you click on the options here or double click on the option and see what new tabs show up. In other cases, you could right click on this content and then change different properties such as the preview and all that type of stuff that might be available for that object. So that's how you insert multimedia in your slide in PowerPoint 2013. In this session, I'm going to demonstrate how to customize the slide master that controls the layout of all the slides in the presentation. This is a very important feature in PowerPoint 2013 and previous versions of PowerPoint, where you basically can take a particular design like this one and then customize it to your liking, whether it is various components such as the headings, the fonts, the different colors, and different components throughout all the slides of the same kind within the slideshow. So here's how it works. We go here under the View tab, and we want to view here. There are different types of course, views, but one of them is the Slide Master. The Slide Master controls the look of the entire presentation, including colors, fonts, backgrounds, effects, just about everything else. So we go here under Slide Master, and notice now there are different slide types that we can customize. The way basically this works is that you can change, for example, so anything that is a title slide, like this one, which has the title up here and then the bullet lists, all those slides will be updated as soon as we update whether the font here or the components within this. We can format different components. Let's say I don't want this bar here to be this wide, so I can just move this farther to the right. And let's say I don't want some of these other components here. Notice in this case it has various pieces. Of course I deleted too much. And we're basically customizing this design here. Now in your case this will depend on what you're utilizing, so it may not be exactly the same, but you get the idea. At this point, let's say we wanted to change this component over here, and we double click, and let's say I don't want this to be blue, I want this to be kind of orange color. I change this object. Now on the very top here, let's say the title, it should go farther out in my slide, because otherwise it's kind of a waste of real estate. So then I move this whole component up. Now again, the changes that we are making here to the layout, it's going to be applied to all the slides of the same kind in my presentation. Now over here, I want to change this and go under the Home tab, and let's say I want to make it bold, and then I want to make that font larger. Then also I want to change it so it's always centered. And the alignment of the text, instead of being on the top, I want it in the middle. And basically I'm customizing this so that it would be, let's say, red, but now maybe red in this case would probably not go that much, but let's try it anyway to make sure that it's applying. Then in here, let's say we want to add additional components. Let's say I want to add a line right below it for whatever reason. And probably the line, it would be best to have the line stretch from end to end of that area. And then let's say that line, I want it to be, the weight of the line to be a little heavier, and then I want this to be a different color. And then the text over here, let's say I want that larger as well. I go under Home here and change this text to be large enough. Now in there I could choose a different font as well, and that will be updated for all the slides again. And then let's say these bullets, I don't like them to be this kind of bullets, so I want them to be, let's say, this other type, or this type, whichever, whatever you prefer. And then on the drop down here we can go and change the color of those bullets so that they match, let's say, the orange, or they match the red or maroon. And now those have been updated. Now in the bottom here, under one of the components, let's say we want this to be matching color for some reason too. And we want to change that. Then in the very bottom, I want to insert a text box called, let's say, whether it's the name of the company or a presentation or whatever you want to do in there, but have something in the bottom of the page, and then format it however you want. And let's say we are happy with the way it looks right now, and maybe this would probably be, since we are using red on the very top, this probably would look better if it's red here as well. Now at this point, what we do is you can go and customize these other slide types as well. Then let's say we are done with the different colors and so on. We could have used color schemes here, different themes as well. Then you click on Close Master View. And now that has been applied to all the slides of the same kind in our presentation. What I mean by that is that these were heading slides, so that's why they have been applied. Now in those where it has not been applied, this was because we were using a different theme, if you remember from the previous video. This was because we customized the heading manually in the beginning, and the very first one is not customized because that's a different type of slide. By type, I mean these over here. So in this case, as you notice, we have updated this to be presented through and updated through all the slides. If I go to present this, we'll notice that it has been updated. And that is updating the slide master. It's a very powerful feature. I strongly recommend that you utilize it and you use it. It's most effective to choose the theme first and be set on the choice of your theme for your presentation, and then go and tinker with the design, because if you go and change the theme later, then you have to go and change the actual design all over again. So that's how it works, and hopefully it is helpful and beneficial, and have fun with it. In this session, I'm going to demonstrate how to utilize notes within slides and how to embed notes within slides in a presentation in PowerPoint 2013, and also how to print slides and slide notes for the audience. Those notes, by the way, they can also be used during the presentation in a presenter view, which I'll cover in another session. So the way you enable notes or the notes view in PowerPoint 2013, most likely you'll have something like this. Then what you do is that you go here on the very bottom and you click under the notes area. Once you click on the notes area, notice that there will be this section here below each slide, that an area where you can insert notes. So in this case, let's say I want to write something about the continuous improvement process. So I have this when I do the presentation for me to either view it on the screen or to print it out with my slides. These would be my notes. I just copied and pasted them at this point to just save time. Then if I go to another slide, I go and insert more notes as well. Of course, these would have to be notes that you're currently utilizing to explain the content of those slides. Basically, you'd go from slide to slide to slide, and then you'd add more notes in there. Now let's just remember here we are on slide number 8 and 9 where we inserted those notes. Now if we wanted to print those notes, we can go under the File here and then press Print, and then the options here are to print all the slides, or to print the selection or the current slides, and so on. Then also we have the options here to print the full page of the slides, or do we want to print the other note pages, the outline, and also multiple slides per page. So this is where you can choose how you want this to be printed out. So let's say I wanted the notes pages. And the notes pages, it'll show up like this. Basically, it'll give me a picture of the slide, and then the notes right below it. And then for the next one as well. So I'm not going to print it, of course, at this point, but this is more for demonstration purposes. So that's how you print the slides notes. And then if you wanted to print the audience note, let's say you want it for horizontally, it's going to print them like that. So you basically can customize this to look like for the audience to take notes here and so on. So that's how you add notes to a presentation, and also how to print those notes. Now also there is the option, which I'll hopefully I cannot show you at this point because I don't have the second monitor hooked up during the recording, but what you can do as well is in presenter view you can choose to enable it here under slideshow. You choose presenter view, and then When you go to present this, it will show you the notes right below or on the right hand side of the slide as well, and check the other session for this. But it's very powerful and very useful to be utilized in using PowerPoint presentation. In this brief session, I'm going to demonstrate how to use annotations in PowerPoint 2013. Usually when you present a PowerPoint, in most cases you cannot write on the screen unless you have a smart board. However, PowerPoint 2013 has, and previous versions as well, have had a feature and still have a feature called annotation. So basically, once you start presenting your PowerPoint, so for example, we go here under Slide Show, and then we click from the beginning. Now at this point, whenever you click on it, of course, it's going to advance to the next slide, and so on. But what you can do is, it's one of the options here in the very bottom is this option here for annotations. So you can choose to use the mouse as a pen, or if you have a touch screen laptop or a tablet PC, what you can do is you can enable the pen mode and then highlight and annotate on the screen. So right now I'm using my mouse. I clicked on the little pen in the bottom, then choose the pen mode, and now I can simply highlight certain areas. Then to move to the next component here, I could use now either the space bar or the right arrow on the keyboard. The other thing that I can do is that if I have a touchscreen laptop, as in the case of this laptop, I could use my finger to highlight and annotate certain areas. Also, to go to the next slide here, notice that you have this little arrow here on the very bottom to move to the next component in your presentation. The other thing that you can do is to enable the pen mode is to press Ctrl P on the keyboard. That enables the pen mode where you can annotate on the screen. And then to change this to the standard play mode, you'd press Ctrl A, and that changes it to an arrow, so that now you can do the clicking like you usually do. So Ctrl P for the pen, and then the pen mode is enabled. Ctrl A for the arrow. Now when you're in pen mode as well, or in writing mode here, what you can do is you can choose different colors as well. So you can change the color and then annotate using that specific color. So it's a great way to enhance the presentation during the delivery process by using the annotation feature in PowerPoint 2013. When you are done with your annotations, it will ask you to keep those or to discard them. And of course, if you choose to keep them, make sure that you have a copy saved, clean copy to start with. In this session, I'm going to demonstrate how to rehearse timings in PowerPoint 2013. PowerPoint 2013 has this feature where you can actually design the slides and the different components within the presentation so that the PowerPoint will run in an automated way. So in this case, first I'm going to save what I have here, and then you go under Slideshow, and then you click on Rehearse Timings. Under Rehearse Timings, what this is doing at this point is that if we keep this on for 5 seconds, then when we save it, it's going to keep it for only 5 or 6 or whatever many seconds. So basically, it's going to play this presentation with the delay embedded as we are clicking at this point. So notice I'm waiting about a few seconds between each item here. It's keeping track of it here on the top left corner. So let's suppose that we are done with keeping track of timing. Now I'm going to press escape, and it asks me, it's 1 minute long, do you want to save the timings? And I'll say yes. And now at this point, when I go to present it from this point on, the timings are going to be retained as I had practiced it in the previous setting. So now if I choose F5 to play this presentation, now notice it'll play by itself. I'm not going to touch it, not going to click on anything. It's going to move the slides by itself here. Now the first one, it took a little longer because I hadn't, that's the time that I had given it to start with. So now I can just sit back and just keep this playing. This would be very useful if you have some kind of an event where you're presenting the slides with pictures or different components from a specific trip or a specific business event and so on, or wedding or whatever it may be, and you want this to be running in the background in a loop. Now when using rehearsed timings, one of the things to consider is that you can also set up a specific show here, set up slideshow, and you can choose to have this so it loops automatically until you press escape. And this is what you'd be using some kind of event, not necessarily in a business meeting, but let's say there's a dinner or something going on, or a wedding or an event, and you can have it so it loops automatically. So that's how it works, and that's all that you have to do to utilize the timings. One of the nice features of PowerPoint is also the ability to record your voice to narrate the PowerPoint. This can be very useful if you're going to miss class for a project or a presentation that you have to do, or if you're a faculty member and you have to teach online, or you're going to miss class, you can record your lecture and then send it to the students or upload it somewhere for the students to access it, or for even a business meeting or training as well. The way it works is that as you are playing the PowerPoint, it's going to put the PowerPoint into play mode. You're presenting it as if you're presenting in front of a live audience, and then it's going to record everything that you're doing during that time, capturing also your voice. And the way you do this is by going to the slideshow here, and then you click on Record Slideshow. Of course, you need a microphone in order to be doing this. You click on Record Slideshow, and we want to record it from the very beginning. So we also choose to record the timings and the animation of the slides, as well as the narrations and any laser pointers that we might be using. So then we click on Start Recording. And then at this point, everything that we are saying at this stage, it's going to be captured. And as we advance to the slides, it's going to capture that and synchronize it together. And you basically just keep on playing this and keep on speaking in your PowerPoint and explaining the different concepts and whatever you're covering. You keep on just basically talking, and the computer is going to capture those clicks as well as your audio. Now at this stage, as you can also use annotations that I explained earlier as well. You can press Ctrl P on the keyboard and enable the pen mode, or you can click on this little icon here on the left hand side and then click on pen mode. You can also use the highlighter if you need it as well. So under pen mode, if you have, you can either use the mouse and then draw different arrows or whatever else to highlight specific areas. Or you can, if your computer is a touch screen, you can simply highlight and use your finger or a stylus as well. Next, to move to the next slide here, you'd either click next on the bottom right, or just use the mouse, or use the keys on the keyboard or the space bar. Now at this point, let's say we are done with this, with the annotation. And now we are going to click on Escape, or press Escape on the keyboard. And now it's going to ask us, do we want to keep the ink annotations? We say keep them. Now, When you send this to your audience, you need to instruct them, because it's not going to be a video file at this point, you need to instruct them that they need to put the presentation in play mode. Basically, they need to press present, and then they'll hear your audio. So in this case, all that we need to do is we click on slideshow, and now let's pretend that we are the audience on the other end. We click on from beginning, and now everything that I said earlier, it's going to be over here. Stage, it's going to be captured, and as we advance to the slides, it's going to capture that and synchronize it together. And you basically just keep on playing this and keep on speaking in your PowerPoint and explaining the different concepts and whatever you're covering. So you get the idea at this stage. In this session, I'm going to show the process of how to create a video from a PowerPoint presentation in Office 2013. So basically, we have a PowerPoint very similar to this, and now, of course, this is also narrated from an earlier process that I did here. But now what I want to do is I want to convert this into a video. To convert into a video, what you have to do is you can click on File and then choose Export. Under Export, here we have a couple options that you can utilize. One of them is to create a video. The other one is to package a presentation for a CD, and I'll cover this in just a moment. To create a video, click on it, and then it's going to choose how we want to create the video, and then we want to choose the use timings and narrations if we have those, which in this case we do have them, the timings, and then now we are just going to create the video. Now it's asking us, where do we want to save this? So in this case, I'm going to just say to save it to the desktop for simplicity. I'll click on Save, and that's all that we have to do. Now continue without the media or with the media. So I'll say continue without the media. That is because I have a YouTube video linked to one of the presentations. So now notice it says creating the video, and it's working on it. Of course, this process depends on how much stuff you have in your presentation, whether you have audio, whether you have video components, whether you have recorded audio of yours, and things of that nature as well. So now the video has been produced or has been recorded, and now we go back here to the desktop, and here is my recorded presentation. Notice it says PowerPoint 2013. Now it is an MP4 file, so technically at this point everybody can actually view this and access this no matter what type of device they have, no matter what type of gadget they are using. So if I double click on it, it'll be just a regular video file. Everything that we are saying at this stage, it's going to be captured, and as we advance to the slides, it's going to capture that and synchronize it together. And you basically just keep on playing. So basically that was the process for creating an MP4 file from a presentation. In this case I also had it narrated, but that's how you do it. Now the other function that you can perform here within PowerPoint is that in certain cases, if you're going to a business meeting and so on, and you're not going to be using your own laptop, you don't know whether your presentation is going to be able to play, or you're going to be able to play that presentation in another computer. So what you can do is you can click here under File and then choose under Export, and you can choose the option to package this presentation for CD. And then this is going to basically take all the linked content and embedded items such as videos, sounds, and fonts and all that type of stuff, and it's going to package them and create a folder for a CD. Now it uses the verbiage for CD. You can use the actual CD, but you don't actually have to use a CD. You can actually use to a flash drive, and basically by copying it to a folder. So in this case, I'm just simply going to choose to copy to a folder. It's going to be on, I'm going to put it on a desktop here. And it's going to be called, the folder name is going to call Presentation CD. And we're going to click OK. And now it says you chose to package all linked files in your presentation, and so on. So do you want to include the linked files? In this case, I'm going to say no because I have a YouTube video linked to it as well. So I don't want to go and tinker with that. So I'm going to say no to that part of it. And it says one or more presentation contains revisions, comments, and so on. Do you want to include those? I say yes to continue. And now it's doing its thing. Now at this point, it is right here. So basically, this is my folder on the desktop, presentation CD. And notice this is the presentation, but notice as well that there is this presentation package, and this contains other components that are needed in order to play this presentation. So this actually it should play even in a computer that may not have PowerPoint in it. It is basically independent. So that's how that function works, and hopefully it is helpful in basically converting a PowerPoint into an MP4 file or a video file, or packaging your PowerPoint for a CD to use it in a computer that may not even have PowerPoint or that version of PowerPoint. In this brief session, I'm going to cover how to save a PowerPoint into PDF format and also how to send the PowerPoint as an attachment. It's very simple, but yet just to show it just in case it is useful. So let's say we have this PowerPoint and we want to convert this to print it out into PDF format so we can post it for the class, or we can send it to someone just as PDF. So what we do is we click on File, and then we click on Export. Under Export, here what we can do is we can click on Create PDF or XPS Document. And then from here, we click on again on Create PDF, XPS, and then simply select where we want to save it. So we want to save it on the desktop, and we want to save it on the folder PDF. And then simply click on Publish, and at this point it's going to convert our PowerPoint into PDF, and there it is. So that was converting the PowerPoint into PDF or posting it somewhere. The next option is how to email this, to send it to someone via email. Well, of course you could attach it, or you can do it from within PowerPoint. You can click on File here and then choose Share. Under Share, click on Email, and then click on Send it as an attachment, or send it as a PDF attachment to someone. And once you press Send as attachment, it should be opening the Outlook application if you have that installed in your computer. That should conclude how to convert PowerPoint into the PDF format and then how to email it to someone.